Nearly 12 years after 9/11, and still the questions and the truth campaigners won't go away. Last week saw one of the biggest ever Reinvestigate 9/11 meetings in London, and organisers said they were reaching many new people. I've got Silky Carlo here to tell us about the 9/11 truth movement in a minute. But first, here's a news item from the US. The American Psychiatric Association, the APA, has updated its handbook to introduce some lucrative new disorders. Not much to do with 9/11, until you remember that there are moves afoot in the EU and the political think tanks to make major dissent a crime, a mental illness, or at least something to be legally repressed. Well, so far there is no official diagnosis of conspiracy theorists just yet, but here's what we do have, courtesy of the American Psychiatric Association. Disruptive mood dysregulation disorder will turn the child's temper tantrums into a mental disorder requiring medication. Normal grief will become major depressive disorder. Excessive eating 12 times in 3 months is now known as a psychiatric illness called binge eating disorder. And if life is worrying for you, you don't have problems, you may have generalized anxiety disorder. Well, still over in America, there's been some surprising changes to the American airline safety regulations, which are causing quite a lot of controversy. Silky, you've heard about this.
Yes, the Transportation Standards Agency, the TSA, has proposed allowing small knives aboard aircraft, as well as an array of items such as snooker cues and golf clubs and baseball bats on flights now.
But wasn't it small knives that was supposed to have been the cause of the 9/11 attacks?
Exactly, and this is the cause of the controversy. The TSA explains that the rule change is due to the fact that small knives have an extremely low likelihood of being used in a major terrorist attack. However, if we go by the official account of 9/11, arguably the most prolific terrorist attack in human history, then it was indeed small knives and box cutters that were used by the terrorists to overpower the individuals on the aircraft.
So what the official story is now telling us that the official story about 9/11 is most unlikely to happen, even though it did happen once, and would seem quite possible that somebody might try to copy the idea.
Exactly, and so the idea is that it's probably unlikely to happen again in the future. So I think what this really shows us is that many of the security measures that have been taken in the post-9/11 era, in fact, don't really relate to the real risks that are posed to citizens.
Well, some people are saying that it's a sort of ritual humiliation of the public and forcing them to be sort of, in some cases, quite literally groped by airline staff.
Well, exactly. So the rules now are based around the idea that what poses a catastrophic risk, so what could pose a risk to the entire aircraft. So that, of course, explains why it's important to grope women and test breast milk at security checkpoints.
Yes. Well, no wonder the 9/11 truth movement's been sort of had something of a boost in recent years. I gather there's some news about that as well. There's campaigners there are planning some activity.
Indeed, there's a very exciting event coming up called Operation Tip the Planet, organised from within Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, and this will be the first global ad campaign that seeks to spread one unified message. So we should be seeing this message on billboards, posters, leaflets, t-shirts. It's basically a call to the public to rethink 9/11.
And when's this going to be happening?
So this will be in September 2013, and AE 9/11 Truth and all of the related organisations that are working together on Operation Tip the Planet are asking for campaigners to start talking about it now and start getting involved.
And AE 9/11 Truth, they're architects
and engineers for 9/11 Truth.
Okay, and did I see that they've now reached 2,000 signatories for their demand for a new investigation into?
And that's just from the professionals alone. There are also
professionals.
Tens of thousands of citizens that are supporting their organisation as well.
Because they're saying that towers couldn't have collapsed in the spectacular, symmetrical, almost instantaneous way that they did. They're saying that that's highly suspicious, quite apart from the question of the small knives on the planes.
Mm-hmm.
There do seem to be a lot of oddities about 9/11, don't there? But every part of the story seems to be highly unlikely, if not impossible.
Well, particularly the collapse of the third tower, World Trade Center 7.
Which wasn't hit by a plane.
Which wasn't hit by a plane, which has all of the hallmarks of controlled demolition. Architects and engineers from 9/11 Truth have done a fantastic job in exposing the controversies, if we put it that way, around the collapse of the third tower.
Because the problem is that if it was a controlled demolition, it would have to have been planned in advance, and they said that they had no advance knowledge of 9/11. That's really the problem for the establishment, isn't it?
It is.
Thanks very much, Silky.
Thank you.